Hey, welcome back. And listen, before you click away thinking this is just another depressing video about world problems, hear me out. Yeah, we are going to talk about some heavy stuff today. The 10 biggest problems destroying our world right now. But here is the thing. I am not here to make you feel hopeless. I am here because I genuinely believe that if we do not wake up and understand what is happening around us, we are going to regret it. Big time. So stick with me for the next 30 minutes. I promise you, by the end of this video, you will see the world differently. You will understand what is really going on. And most importantly, you will realize that you actually have more power than you think. Alright, if you are ready for some real talk, smash that like button right now. Subscribe if you have not already. And turn on the bell because we are going to keep having these important conversations. Let's go. Problem number 1. Climate change. And no, it is not a joke anymore. Okay, real talk. How many of you are tired of hearing about climate change? I get it. We have been hearing about it for years, but guys, this is not crying wolf anymore. This is the wolf actually at the door, and it is on fire.
Let me paint you a picture. Right now, as I am recording this, there are places on Earth that are literally becoming unlivable. Not in 50 years, not in 20 years, right now. We are talking about temperatures hitting 50 degrees Celsius in parts of the Middle East and South Asia. That is 122 degrees Fahrenheit for my American friends. At that temperature, the human body cannot cool itself. People are dying. And it is not just the heat. Last year we saw Pakistan, a country of 220 million people, get 1/3 of its entire landmass submerged underwater.
1/3. Imagine waking up and your entire neighborhood, your city, your province is just gone, underwater. 33 million people displaced. Where do they go? What do they eat? How do they rebuild their lives? In Europe, they face the worst drought in 500 years. 500 years. Rivers dried up so much that they found World War II bombs and ancient stones that had been underwater for centuries. Farmers lost entire crops. People could not get drinking water. And the wildfires. Oh man, the wildfires. Canada, California, Australia, Greece, the Amazon rainforest. We are watching the lungs of our planet burn in real time.
And every time it happens, we scroll past it on social media like it is just another news story. But it is not. These are real people losing everything. Now, why is this happening? Look, I am going to be straight with you. We did this. Humans. For the last 150 years, we have been pumping carbon dioxide, methane, and other greenhouse gases into the atmosphere like there is no tomorrow. And guess what? If we keep going, there might actually be no tomorrow. Every time we drive a car, every time a factory produces something, every time we use electricity from coal or gas, we are adding to this problem. And here is the kicker. The Earth has warmed by about 1.1 degrees Celsius since the 1800s, just 1.1 degrees. And look at the chaos it is causing. Scientists say if we hit 2 degrees, we are looking at catastrophic, irreversible damage. But here is what really makes me angry. The richest countries, the ones that caused most of this pollution, they are going to be fine for a while. They have money for air conditioning, for seawalls, for relocating people. But the poorest countries, the ones that contributed almost nothing to climate change, they are suffering the most. Bangladesh, Pacific Island nations, African countries, it is not fair. It is not right. So what is the solution? We need to cut emissions, fast, like yesterday. Transition to renewable energy, solar, wind, hydroelectric. Stop cutting down forests, plant more trees. Change how we produce food because agriculture is a massive contributor. And yes, this means governments and corporations need to step up. But it also means we need to make different choices. Use less plastic. Reduce, reuse, recycle. Support companies that care about the environment. Vote for leaders who take this seriously. I know it feels overwhelming. Like, what can one person do? But remember, every movement in history started with individuals who decided enough is enough. So yeah, climate change is real. It is scary. But we still have a window to act. Let's not waste it. Problem number 2. Poverty and inequality. The rich get richer, and we all pay the price. Alright, let me ask you something. How does it feel knowing that the richest 1% of people on this planet own more wealth than the entire bottom 50% combined? Yeah, let that sink in. 1% versus 50%. Does that sound fair to you? Does that sound like a world that is working? Right now, over 700 million people live in extreme poverty. That means they survive on less than $2.15 a day. $2. That is less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks. And we are not just talking about being broke. We are talking about not having enough food to eat, not having clean water to drink, not having a roof over your head, watching your children go to bed hungry every single night. And here is what breaks my heart. It is not because there is not enough to go around. The world produces enough food to feed 10 billion people. We have the resources. We have the technology. We have the wealth. It is just distributed so unfairly that billions suffer while billionaires are literally racing each other to space for fun. Let me give you some perspective. During the pandemic, while millions of people lost their jobs, lost their homes, lost their loved ones, the world's billionaires increased their wealth by $5 trillion. $5 trillion, in the middle of a global crisis. How does that even make sense? And this inequality is not just about money. It is about opportunity. If you are born poor, your chances of getting a good education, low. Your chances of getting quality healthcare, even lower. Your chances of breaking out of poverty, almost impossible. The system is rigged, and it is getting worse. In the developed world, the middle class is shrinking.
People are working harder than ever, 2 jobs, 3 jobs, and still struggling to pay rent. Student debt is crushing an entire generation. Medical bills are bankrupting families. The cost of living keeps going up, but wages, they stay the same. Meanwhile, CEOs are making 300 times what their average worker makes. 300 times. Why is this happening? Multiple reasons. Globalization moved jobs to countries with cheaper labor. Automation is replacing workers. Tax systems favor the wealthy. The rich have loopholes, offshore accounts, ways to avoid paying their fair share. And let's be honest, corruption plays a huge role.
The people with money have power, and they use that power to keep the system working for them. And here is the dangerous part. When people feel left behind, when they see no hope for a better future, that is when societies start to break down. That is when you get unrest, conflict, extremism. Desperate people do desperate things. So, what is the solution? We need progressive taxation. Make the ultra-wealthy pay their fair share. Close the loopholes. Invest in education and healthcare. Raise minimum wages so people can actually live on them. Provide social safety nets. Universal basic income is being tested in some places, and the results are promising. We need trade policies that protect workers, not just profits. And on a personal level, support local businesses. Support fair trade. Donate to charities that are actually making a difference. Use your voice. Demand change. Because this level of inequality is not sustainable. Something has got to give. Problem number 3. Water scarcity. We are running out of the one thing we cannot live without. Okay, pop quiz. What is the one thing you absolutely cannot survive without for more than 3 days? Water. That is right. Not food, not money, not your smartphone. Water. And we are running out of it. Fast. Right now, 2 billion people, that is 1 in 4 humans on this planet, live in countries experiencing high water stress. And by 2050, that number could be 5 billion. Half the world's population. Let me repeat that. Half of humanity might not have reliable access to clean water in just 25 years. And this is not some distant future problem. It is happening now. Cape Town, South Africa, almost ran out of water completely in 2018. They called it Day Zero, the day the taps would run dry. Can you imagine? A major city in the 21st century about to have no water. They avoided it by extreme rationing, but it was terrifyingly close. The Middle East, North Africa, parts of India, China, the American Southwest. They are all facing severe water shortages. The Colorado River, which provides water to 40 million people in the US, is drying up. Lake Mead and Lake Powell are at historically low levels, and it is getting worse every year. But here is what really gets me. We waste so much water. Leaky pipes lose billions of gallons.
Inefficient irrigation and agriculture wastes enormous amounts. We pollute our water sources with industrial waste, sewage, chemicals.
And then we act surprised when there is not enough clean water to go around. Climate change is making this worse. Droughts are longer and more severe. Glaciers that feed major rivers are melting away. Rainfall patterns are changing. Some places get too much water all at once, causing floods, while others get none at all. And water scarcity does not just mean you are thirsty. It means crops fail, livestock die, food prices skyrocket. Industries shut down because they need water to operate. People have to walk miles every day just to get water, usually women and children. And when water becomes scarce, conflicts erupt. Countries fight over rivers. Communities fight over wells. Wars have been fought over water, and more are coming. Why is this happening? Population growth means more people need water. Economic development means more agriculture and industry, both of which use massive amounts of water. Mismanagement and poor infrastructure waste what we have. And again, climate change is accelerating everything. So what is the solution? First, we need to use water more efficiently. Drip irrigation instead of flood irrigation in farming. Fix those leaky pipes. Treat and reuse wastewater. Desalination plants can turn seawater into drinking water, though they are expensive and energy intensive. Rainwater harvesting. Protecting watersheds and wetlands. On a personal level, we can all reduce water waste. Shorter showers. Turn off the tap while brushing your teeth. Fix leaks at home. Be mindful of your water footprint and support policies that protect water resources. Water is life, literally. Without it, nothing else matters. We need to treat it like the precious resource it is before it is too late. Problem number 4. Food insecurity and hunger. How are people still starving in 2025? This one makes me so angry I can barely talk about it calmly. We live in a world where we throw away 1/3 of all food produced. 1/3. That is 1.3 billion tons of food every single year just tossed in the garbage. And at the same time, 800 million people go to bed hungry every night. 800 million. How is that possible? How is that okay? Children are dying from malnutrition. Not because there is not enough food in the world, but because they were born in the wrong place, because of poverty, because of war, because of inequality. It is heartbreaking, it is infuriating, and it is completely preventable. Let me give you some numbers that will blow your mind. We produce enough food globally to feed 10 billion people. The current world population is around 8 billion. So mathematically, no one should be hungry. No one. But here we are. And food insecurity is not just about having nothing to eat. It is also about not having consistent access to nutritious food. Millions of people survive on cheap processed junk because fresh fruits, vegetables, and protein are too expensive. This leads to malnutrition, obesity, diabetes, and a whole host of health problems. Climate change is making this worse. Extreme weather destroys crops, droughts reduce yields, floods wash away fields, pests and diseases spread to new areas. Farmers, especially small-scale farmers in developing countries, are struggling. And when harvests fail, prices spike and the poor suffer most. Then you have conflicts and wars. When violence erupts, farming stops, supply chains break down, food becomes a weapon. We have seen this in Yemen, Syria, South Sudan, Ethiopia. Millions facing famine not because of natural disasters, but because of human-made crises. Economic factors play a role too. COVID showed us how fragile our food systems are. Supply chains collapsed, prices surged. Even in wealthy countries, food banks were overwhelmed, and in poor countries, catastrophic. Why is this happening? Multiple reasons. Poverty is the biggest one. People cannot afford food. Conflict displaces farmers and disrupts production. Climate change is reducing yields. Food waste is rampant in wealthy countries, and our industrial food systems prioritize profit over feeding people. So what is the solution? We need to reduce food waste, redistribute surplus food to those who need it, support small-scale farmers with better seeds, tools, and training, invest in sustainable agriculture that can withstand climate change, end conflicts that cause famines, strengthen social safety nets so everyone can afford food. On a personal level, Waste less food. Plan your meals. Use leftovers. Compost what you cannot eat. Support food banks. Buy from local farmers. And advocate for policies that address hunger. No one should go hungry in the 21st century. We have the resources. We just need the will to fix it. Problem number 5. Healthcare access and pandemics, when getting sick means losing everything. COVID-19 taught us a brutal lesson. Our healthcare systems are not ready, not even close, and the next pandemic could be even worse. But even before COVID, billions of people had no access to basic healthcare. And that is a crisis we have been ignoring for way too long. Right now, half the world's population cannot get essential health services. Half. We are talking about people who cannot see a doctor when they are sick. Women who give birth without any medical assistance. Children dying from diseases that are easily preventable. And it is not just in poor countries. Even in wealthy nations, millions cannot afford healthcare. Let me talk about America for a second. The richest country in the world, right? But medical bills are the #1 cause of bankruptcy there. People are rationing insulin, a life-saving drug, because they cannot afford it. Cancer patients are going into massive debt just to stay alive. It is barbaric. And then COVID hit. Over 7 million people died worldwide. 7 million. Healthcare systems collapsed. Hospitals ran out of beds, ventilators, staff. Doctors and nurses worked to exhaustion, watching people die because there were not enough resources. And the inequalities were stark. Wealthy countries hoarded vaccines while poor countries begged for scraps. But pandemics are not the only threat. We are facing a growing crisis of antimicrobial resistance. Basically, bacteria are evolving faster than we can develop new antibiotics. Diseases that were once easily treatable are becoming deadly again. Scientists warn that by 2050, antimicrobial resistance could kill 10 million people a year, more than cancer. Mental health is another disaster. Depression, anxiety, suicide rates are skyrocketing, especially among young people, and mental health services severely lacking almost everywhere. There is stigma, lack of funding, not enough professionals. People suffer in silence because they have nowhere to turn. Why is this happening? Healthcare is expensive, and many governments underinvest in it. Inequality means the rich get excellent care, while the poor get nothing. Pharmaceutical companies prioritize profits over access, and our globalized world means diseases can spread faster than ever. So what is the solution? Universal healthcare. Every person should have access to medical care without going bankrupt. Invest in public health infrastructure. Build more hospitals. Train more healthcare workers. Make medicines affordable and accessible. Strengthen pandemic preparedness so we are ready for the next one. Fund mental health services. Remove the stigma around mental illness. On a personal level, take care of your health. Get vaccinated. Support healthcare workers. Advocate for healthcare reform. And check in on the people around you. Mental health matters just as much as physical health. Healthcare is a human right, not a privilege, and we need to start treating it that way. Problem number 6. Armed conflicts and wars. Why are we still killing each other? How many active conflicts do you think are happening right now in the world? Take a guess. The answer is over 50. 50 wars and armed conflicts happening at this very moment, and we barely hear about most of them. Ukraine, Gaza, Syria, Yemen, Sudan, Myanmar, Ethiopia, Somalia. The list goes on and on. Millions of people are living in war zones, their homes destroyed, their families torn apart, children growing up knowing nothing but violence. It is a tragedy of unimaginable scale. And the numbers are staggering. Over 100 million people have been forcibly displaced from their homes. That is more than the entire population of most countries. Refugees fleeing across borders. Internally displaced people with nowhere to go, living in camps, in makeshift shelters, in constant fear. The human cost is beyond comprehension. Hundreds of thousands dead, millions injured, entire generations traumatized, infrastructure destroyed, economies collapsed, and for what? Power, resources, territory, religion, ideology. It is senseless. And these conflicts do not just affect the countries involved. They destabilize entire regions. They create breeding grounds for terrorism and extremism. They fuel refugee crises that impact countries far away. They drain resources that could be used for development, healthcare, education. Why do wars keep happening? Sometimes it is over resources like oil, water, minerals. Sometimes it is ethnic or religious tensions that have simmered for generations. Sometimes it is authoritarian leaders clinging to power. Sometimes it is external interference, powerful countries playing geopolitical games. And sometimes it is just the failure of diplomacy. The inability to talk, to compromise, to find peaceful solutions. And here's the thing that really gets me. War is profitable for some people. Arms manufacturers make billions selling weapons. Corrupt officials siphon off money. War economies develop where certain groups benefit from the chaos, so they have no incentive to stop the fighting. So what is the solution? Diplomacy, dialogue, mediation. Conflict resolution needs to be prioritized over military action. Strengthen international institutions like the United Nations. Hold war criminals accountable. Address the root causes of conflicts: poverty, inequality, injustice. Stop the flow of weapons into conflict zones. Support peacebuilding and reconciliation efforts. On a personal level, stay informed. Do not ignore wars just because they are not happening near you. Support humanitarian organizations helping refugees and victims. Advocate for peaceful foreign policies, and remember that every casualty, every refugee, is a real person with hopes and dreams just like you. War is not inevitable, it is a choice, and we need to choose peace. Problem number 7. Education crisis, locking millions out of opportunity. Education is supposed to be the great equalizer, right? The thing that lets anyone, no matter where they are born, rise up and build a better life. But for hundreds of millions of kids around the world, that is just a fantasy. They do not have access to education. And even when they do, the quality is so poor, it barely makes a difference. Right now, over 260 million children and youth are out of school. 260 million. That is almost the population of the United States. And even more are in school, but not actually learning anything meaningful. Classrooms with 100 students and one teacher. No books, no supplies, buildings falling apart. And it is not just in developing countries. Even in wealthy nations, education systems are struggling. Teachers are overworked and underpaid. Schools are underfunded. Students are graduating without basic skills in reading, math, and critical thinking. The pandemic made everything worse. School closures set back learning by years. Girls face extra barriers. In many parts of the world, cultural norms keep girls out of school. They are expected to stay home, do housework, get married young. Millions of girls will never learn to read or write. Their potential wasted. And here is the thing. Education is not just about getting a job. It is about critical thinking, understanding the world, making informed decisions, participating in democracy, escaping poverty. Countries with educated populations are healthier, wealthier, more stable. Education is the foundation of everything. Why is this happening? Poverty is a huge factor. Families cannot afford school fees, uniforms, books. Kids need to work to help support the family. In conflict zones, schools are destroyed or too dangerous to attend. Governments underinvest in education. Teachers are not trained properly, and in some places there is just no infrastructure. No schools, no teachers. So, what is the solution? Make education free and accessible to everyone. Invest in schools, teachers, and materials. Address the barriers that keep girls out of school. Use technology to reach remote areas. Train and pay teachers properly. Make curriculums relevant and engaging. And recognize that education is not just about memorizing facts. It is about learning to think, to question, to solve problems. On a personal level, if you can, support education charities. Volunteer as a tutor. Advocate for education funding. And value learning. Keep educating yourself throughout your life. Education is the key to almost every other problem we have talked about. Fix education and you fix so much else. Problem number 8. Mental health crisis. The silent epidemic. No one wants to talk about. Let's talk about something we do not talk about enough. Mental health. Right now, 1 in 8 people globally live with a mental health condition. That is almost 1 billion people. Depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, PTSD.
And those are just the diagnosed cases. Millions more suffer in silence. Suicide is the 4th leading cause of death among 15 to 29-year-olds. Think about that. Young people who should have their whole lives ahead of them are taking their own lives. And for every person who dies by suicide, many more attempted. It is heartbreaking. The pandemic made everything worse. Isolation, fear, uncertainty, grief, mental health issues skyrocketed. And even as we have come out of the worst of COVID, the mental health crisis continues. Loneliness is epidemic, especially among young people.
Social media, despite connecting us, often makes us feel more isolated and inadequate. And here is the kicker. Despite how common mental health issues are, there is still so much stigma. People are ashamed to admit they are struggling. They fear judgment, discrimination. In many cultures, mental illness is seen as weakness, as something to hide, so people suffer alone. Even when people seek help, services are lacking. There are not enough therapists, psychiatrists, counselors. Wait times are months long. Treatment is expensive. In many countries, mental health care is almost non-existent. Why is this happening? Modern life is stressful. Economic pressure, job insecurity, social media creating unrealistic expectations, political instability, climate anxiety. The world feels overwhelming, and we have created societies that prioritize productivity over well-being. We are told to just push through, to toughen up, but mental health does not work that way. So what is the solution? We need to destigmatize mental illness, talk about it openly, make mental health care accessible and affordable, integrate mental health services into primary health care, train more professionals, invest in prevention and early intervention, create supportive communities, and fundamentally, we need to rethink how we live. Work-life balance, social connection, meaning, and purpose. On a personal level, take care of your mental health. It is just as important as physical health. Seek help if you need it. Talk to someone. Practice self-care. And check on the people around you. Sometimes just asking someone how they really are can make all the difference. Mental health matters, and it is time we started acting like it. Problem number 9. Technological risks. When progress becomes a threat. Technology has given us incredible things. The internet, smartphones, medical advances. But it has also created risks we are barely beginning to understand. And the pace of change is so fast, we cannot keep up. Let's start with artificial intelligence. AI is advancing rapidly. It can diagnose diseases, drive cars, write articles, create art. It is amazing. But it also raises serious questions. What happens when AI can do most jobs better than humans? Millions could lose their livelihoods. And what about autonomous weapons? AI-powered drones that can kill without human oversight. That is terrifying. Then there is the issue of control. As AI gets more advanced, will we be able to control it? Some experts warn about existential risks. AI systems that become so intelligent they pursue goals misaligned with human well-being. It sounds like science fiction, but top scientists take it very seriously. Cybersecurity is another massive threat. Our entire world runs on digital infrastructure, power grids, financial systems, hospitals, government databases, and they are all vulnerable. Cyber attacks are increasing. Ransomware shuts down critical services, state-sponsored hackers steal data, and a major cyber attack on key infrastructure could cause chaos. Then we have misinformation and disinformation. Social media has become a weapon. Fake news spreads faster than truth. Deepfakes make it impossible to know what is real. Foreign actors manipulate elections. Conspiracy theories radicalize people. And algorithms trap us in echo chambers where we only see information that confirms what we already believe. This is eroding trust in institutions, in media, in each other. Privacy is another concern. Companies and governments collect massive amounts of data on us. Everything we do online is tracked, and that data can be used to manipulate us, to control us. We are giving up our privacy without fully understanding the consequences. And let's not forget about biotechnology. Gene editing like CRISPR has incredible potential to cure diseases. But it also raises ethical questions. Designer babies, biological weapons. We are playing with the building blocks of life, and we do not fully understand the risks. Why is this happening? Technology develops faster than regulation. Companies prioritize profit over safety. Governments struggle to keep up, and there is a lack of global cooperation. Different countries have different rules, making it hard to address risks that do not respect borders. So what is the solution? We need strong regulation of emerging technologies. Ethics needs to be built into development from the start. Invest in cybersecurity. Hold tech companies accountable. Educate people about digital literacy so they can spot misinformation. Protect privacy. And foster international cooperation on tech governance. On a personal level, be mindful of your digital footprint. Use strong passwords. Be skeptical of what you see online. Support ethical tech companies. And stay informed about these issues. Technology is not good or bad, it is a tool, but we need to use it wisely. Problem number 10. Democratic backsliding and authoritarianism. Freedom is fragile. Here is something that should worry all of us. Democracy is in decline around the world. For the first time in decades, more countries are becoming less democratic rather than more. Authoritarian leaders are gaining power, and the freedoms we take for granted are under threat. We are seeing it everywhere. Leaders undermining elections, attacking the free press, jailing opponents, stifling dissent, eroding the rule of law, and people are letting it happen because they are scared, divided, or disillusioned. Look at the numbers. Freedom House reports that global freedom has declined for 17 consecutive years. 17 years. Countries that were moving toward democracy are sliding backward, and even established democracies are showing cracks. Polarization, distrust in institutions, attacks on the media, the rise of extremism. And when democracy fails, everything else gets worse. Corruption flourishes. Human rights are violated. Minorities are persecuted. Dissent is crushed. Conflicts erupt. Economic opportunities shrink. History has shown us this pattern over and over. Why is this happening? Economic anxiety makes people vulnerable to strongmen promising simple solutions. Misinformation fuels division and distrust. Identity politics polarizes societies. External actors spread propaganda to destabilize democracies. And frankly, democratic institutions have failed to deliver for many people. When governments are corrupt, when they do not address people's needs, people lose faith. So, what is the solution? Strengthen democratic institutions, ensure free and fair elections, protect the press, uphold the rule of law, fight corruption, bridge divides through dialogue, invest in civic education so people understand how democracy works and why it matters, and defend human rights for everyone, not just those we agree with. On a personal level, stay informed, vote, participate in your community, hold leaders accountable, support independent journalism, and stand up for democratic values even when it is hard. Democracy is not perfect, but it is the best system we have for protecting freedom, promoting justice, and giving people a voice, and it is worth fighting for. Conclusion, 2 minutes. All right, we have covered a lot. Climate change, poverty, water scarcity, hunger, healthcare, war, education, mental health, technology, democracy. These are the 10 biggest problems facing our world today. And yeah, it is overwhelming. It is scary. It is easy to feel powerless. But here is the thing. These problems are all connected, and they all have solutions. We have the knowledge. We have the resources. We have the technology. What we need is the will, the courage, the determination to actually do something. And I know what you're thinking. What can I do? I am just one person. But remember, every major change in history started with individuals who decided to act, who refused to accept the status quo, who believed that a better world was possible. So start small, make changes in your own life, reduce your carbon footprint, volunteer, donate, educate yourself, have conversations, use your voice, vote, support causes you believe in, and do not underestimate the power of collective action. When millions of individuals take small steps, it becomes a movement. We are at a crossroads. The decisions we make in the next few years will determine the future of our planet and our species. We can continue down the path we are on and face catastrophic consequences. Or we can change course. We can build a world that is sustainable, just, and humane. The choice is ours. So what are we going to do? Are we going to sit back and watch it all fall apart? Or are we going to stand up and fight for a better future?
I know what I'm choosing. I hope you will join me. If this video opened your eyes, made you think, or motivated you to take action, please share it. Let's spread awareness. Let's start conversations. Let's build momentum for change. Thanks for sticking with me through this. I know it was heavy, but it was important. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Hit the notification bell. And let me know in the comments which of these issues you care about most and what you are doing about it. Together, we can make a difference. Let's get to work. See you in the next video. Peace.